Dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to Wheeling Wine and Whiskey, episode 278. How the heck are you, Chris?
I'm doing really good. How are you, Jason?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm under the crunch for Trail Hero.
Seems to be the case for a lot of people, man. A lot of people are banging and clanging.
Yep. I've been doing some fabricating this morning, new seat brackets, so raised my seat up a couple inches. Something I've been wanting to do. I've always sat really low in that buggy, and so now raise it up, I can actually see over the hood now.
Oh, that's good. You're all grown up now.
Exactly. Well, it's important to see out there. You know, I used to drive by Braille, but now I'm kind of want to focus on where my tires are. So,
yep. Can you still see through your foot well?
Oh yeah, no problem.
All right, perfect.
So, no, it's good. So, a few other things. You know, front diff. I grind down the bottom bolts on that upside down 14 bolt. So, it's a 12 and a half bolt now. So I got to go in there and weld some nuts to those bolts and get them out and put some new fresh bolts in. And the good thing is that, they're good. You don't hit your diffs very often at Trail Hero.
No.
Not like you do at King of the Hammers and Fordyce. So
it's just like driving on sandpaper at Trail Hero, right? Like being in Moab.
It is, but there's not a bunch of rocks to climb over. You know, it's all one big just piece of sandpaper rock. But see, if I had portals, then that would raise me up another 4 or 5 inches, and then I'd have plenty of clearance and wouldn't be hitting that front diff as much.
Right. I don't think it's ever really impeded you, though, before. So
no, but
you just got to choose your line. That's all.
Yeah. Got to sit down with Matt and Scott from Portal Pros and hear about their latest updates, because when we talked to them briefly last time at Trek, they were, had a actual working prototype. They minus a couple gears at Sierra Trek this year.
Okay.
So they got the gears in and have been running the heck out of them. So I got to catch up with them at Hollister and find out about their trials and tribulations and how their testing's going.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Sorry I missed it.
I know. Well, we before we get into that, we got 2 voicemails though. We should get those going.
Is that
so we can stay
timely with
this.
Are they going to be good?
I don't know. You
didn't
this
pre-screen
one number
them?
I think I recognize.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hey, what's going on, Jason and Chris? This is Chris Ray, the Ultra 4 Escort.
Chris Ray.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question for you guys that maybe you guys will want to touch on, and maybe you'll just delete this. I don't know. But every year, right before KOH, probably 2 or 3 months beforehand, I tend to go minimal to no alcohol to try to make sure that my body's ready for the absolute beating that the car crashes. It is King of the Hammers.
Yeah. 8-hour car wreck.
And so, but I've been really enjoying a lot of bourbon the last couple months and last year or so. So I was wondering, do you guys have any NA bourbon recommendations?
Nope.
Do they even exist?
Yes.
I don't know. They probably shouldn't, but if they do, it might make that transition and might make those 2 to 3 months a little bit easier. So, anyways, just wanted to know your thoughts. Hope everything's good with you guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Isn't
All right, Chris, Ultra 4
heresy?
Escort.
That's heresy, what he's suggesting.
Well, I've had it. I've had a couple non-alcoholic bourbons. And I use the word bourbons loosely.
Okay.
Yeah, just go cold turkey. It's not worth your time or money. I've tried it.
Enjoy the flavor, but don't get the kick from it. What's the point?
Uh-huh.
I mean, not to say that we get
the flavor's not even good. I mean, if you like Jim Beam, regular Jim Beam, or Wild Turkey, or Cutty Sark, then a Fireball, dare I say, then it's probably okay. But if you're used to drinking some good whiskeys, no, ain't happening.
What about Canadian Mist? Is that good?
No, yeah, Canadian Mist. That's excellent. So, Chris, go big or go home, man. It's like taking a, VW Bug competing in the 4400 class. It just it's not recommended. Not good.
So, Ultra 4 Escort's on the wagon. All right, got it.
All right. Well, good luck. I've done it, and it's possible to do. So just gotta have some discipline. But that is smart because you are beating up your body, and take a page out of Jason Berger's book and CrossFit Sally there working away and getting in shape. A lot of drivers do that stuff. So, and you see Shannon Campbell running and exercising every day. So,
never know when you might need to run 5 miles with 10 gallons of gas on your back.
Yeah, and I think Shannon, they're doing, instead of sober October, they're doing sober September.
That's right.
So, we'll see. It seems like it's going pretty good for them. But I think they have too many parties in October.
That's right.
All right. Well, there you go. I got another one here. Here we go.
Hey there, guys. This is Cody, the albino sand squirrel. Hopefully you can hear me this time. Last time my messages are all jumbled to hell. Notice you guys are lacking in the amount of phone calls you're getting in, so I thought I'd come in and ruin your day. But, we're talking. I was listening to you guys complain about traffic and Bidenomics. Keep in mind, it's no longer Bidenomics, it's Kamala-nomics. That woman's fucking evil, I swear to God. I hope Trump wins. Fucking send that drunk, crazy, psycho whore back where she belongs. And I'd say where that is, but I cursed too much already. Anyway, man, y'all keep on keeping on with the damn podcast and stuff, and I forgot what the hell else I was going to say. Ain't first or last, I don't know, shit. I'll think of something else, I'll call back.
All right, Cody, always appreciate your phone calls. Those are great. The albino sand squirrel.
I'm telling you, pushing the explicit label to the very edge.
Well, I agree 110% with everything you said. So, we got to fight the good fight here, and hopefully everything will shake out here in November correctly.
It's rapidly approaching. That is for sure.
It really is.
If you haven't,
that's awesome.
Make sure you register before the deadline. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely get that. Hopefully your vote counts. We'd like to think our vote counts, but if you don't vote at all, then it definitely is not going to count. So
that's right.
Get registered if you're not, and vote, and be educated on your vote. Don't vote because person's male or female or whatever. Just vote for the person that you think is going to do the best job.
Do your research. Yeah, exactly. Don't just research your beliefs and follow them. So, all right. So, we don't have anything else. I don't think we have any reviews. I'm pretty sure we don't have any new reviews. I looked earlier, and I think we're all the business is conducted at this point. So, only other thing I'd like to mention, we haven't mentioned in the past a few episodes, but we do appreciate all of our supporters of the show and the Barrel Society, and anybody that is following us or members of irate4x4.com. If you're not on irate4x4.com, you can go over to that website and you can register for free, and you can participate in all the cool forums there. And of course, you can scroll a little bit down the screen and you'll see Watch, Listen, and Discuss, which is where we're at, Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. And you can see all of our past episodes there. Plus, you can involve yourself in discussions.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think without further ado, why don't we jump right into this interview with Portal Pros?
You want to do that? Let's do that.
Okay. I am here at Hollister Hills SVRA for the safety clinic, and I got a couple special guests that wandered into the Lance Life Camper Studio L. We got the Portal Pros in the Heezy, baby. Matt and Scott. All right, Matt talks so they know who Matt is.
Okay, this is Matt.
Okay, and Scott?
This is Scott.
Okay,
how's it going?
Now you know. Welcome, guys. So we met a little while ago, and we kind of talked at Sierra Trek, and you guys, we met. It was it a Hammers last year? Okay, or Hammers this year, I should say. You guys wandered into our tent with like some Tinker toys and shit, some plastic shit, and said, "What do you think of this?"
It feels like that's been so long since that happened.
It's seriously, it's crazy because until like maybe 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, we were like, yeah, this is a thing we're doing. Is it going to work out? Probably not. And now we're like, no, this is a company we're starting.
This is a thing. We're doing the whole thing.
This is happening.
Yeah, like when we met you the first time, we were holding the prototype portal that we had built.
And it was plastic.
The 3D printed one.
It was cool, but it all came apart. And you guys came into our tent at Hammers, and I was like, okay, I get it, prototype. And you're like, yeah, we're making portals. And I like, well.
You had the same reaction as
right?
everybody at Hammers. We walked up to like Waylon Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, hey, look at this.
That's cool.
Like, oh, man, that's
cool.
Man.
My kid.
I guess.
My two sons' fucking Tonka trucks could use those really well.
Yeah. Like, do you make it for RC cars? That's what they're for, right?
Their little remote control. Yeah, no.
We've come a long way since.
Well, no, and so that's what I'm saying. So that's where we met, and it was super cool. And then to see you guys actually have, aluminum fucking with real gears and shit at Sierra Trek this year, last month, I was like, okay. Yeah, they're making it happen. So here we are.
Yeah, we feel.
Yeah, that was like we literally. So for Sierra Trek, we didn't have anything until the day before we drove up there. Like we drove up Wednesday. Tuesday, I was going to FedEx and like banging on the door, like give me our prototype parts.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So it's like otherwise we're gonna just like show up at Sierra Trek, have a table with nothing on it.
Booked the booth or whatever, 6 weeks or 8 weeks in
Yeah.
advance. Like, hey, we're gonna be there. We're gonna have some stuff because we ordered all of our parts.
Right.
And it was like, oh God. Are
And
we
then,
gonna have anything? Okay,
is it
yeah,
gonna be there? So that was cool, and the cool display you guys had. You had like was it a 35 and then a 40?
So on one side, it was an actual axle. It
Okay.
came out of the Jeep, our test JK.
Right.
So it was a Dana 44, the rear axle. We chopped it down so it's a little bit easier to manage.
Narrower, yeah.
It's a super narrow axle. We put a 43-inch.
Like a Suzuki Samurai Narrow.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
And it's got a 43-inch quote-unquote tire. It was a piece of wood on the one side. And then the
Right.
other side had our 3D printed portal that you talked about.
That's
with a
right.
35-inch tire to
Right.
show that would be balanced.
The-
So you'd have
the-
same ground clearance with a 35-inch tire and the portal as you would with a 43-inch tire.
And that was pretty I mean, you couldn't deny looking at that and you're like, holy shit, that kind of paints the picture, and it did.
Instagram thought the exact same thing.
Right?
Yeah. It was,
you guys got huge hits off of that?
We've been posting on Instagram for 6-8 months, just like, here's our story, here's what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
this is, the background of the company and everything.
Here's our
And
plastic
then
portals.
We posted just like a 5-second video of that thing. It's like, look, it's the same clearance. And we had the most ridiculous response. We went from like 200 followers on Instagram to like 12,000.
Isn't that crazy?
Off of that silly little,
Yep.
because I think it drove the point home that like this is the same. And of course, it gets people arguing on the internet.
And that
which
reel
is-
has like 60,000 likes.
No
now.
shit.
Yeah, just
So who
crazy.
came
like,
up with
oh,
that
we're
idea to
influencers.
build that display? Was that a collaboration or was that...
We both
Okay.
We've been staring at the CAD models
Yeah.
forever, and it's like, how are we going to show people that like this is
How do we
this is
illustrate
what it
this?
is?
Yeah.
Like why do you even want portals? Because
Right.
they've been out there and people kind of know about them, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know what a portal is and what it is supposed
Well,
to
it
do.
is. It's fairly new in the last couple years to the common, I would say, 4-wheel drive industry. Now, obviously, portals have been around for a while on Unimogs and stuff like that, and it's like, so it wasn't new to me, but it's definitely becoming more commonplace. Especially, I follow the. Moon Rock, frickin' Moon Buggies, I should say, fucking We Rock, rock crawling, Dave Wong, and all these crazy players in this game, right? And what Cody Wagner does with all his cool fucking money that he has. And it's like portals. And, you look at these fucking things and it's just an engineering marvel and it's so cool. And so, to bring that to the common people now, the common folk that just learned about portals a few years ago and go,
Right.
oh, well, shit, I could run, a smaller tire and still get the clearance and the gear reduction benefits of that's pretty fucking
I think
cool.
we honestly surprised ourselves when we sat down and we were like, okay, we got to write out what all the benefits are of having portals in general.
Right.
So we can bring it to our customers and stuff. And it was like, all right, diff clearance is obviously number one.
Yep.
And then obviously the re-gear that you get, you don't have to re-gear your differential gears. Now you've got to
Which
re-gear
gets
in the portal.
expensive.
But then it's, then you're also lifting up your whole chassis. You don't have to do driveline angles are no longer a problem. Suspension arms are no longer an issue.
Sure.
You just keep everything the way it was, and your stock, Jeep design suspension works just fine. You don't have to do that to clear the obstacles that you want to clear. And then there's just so many other things that we were just like, little tiny things. We're like, oh, that's actually also a nice little benefit of portals.
So that's a huge point because, watching as long as I have, and I'm dating myself, but from, you used to have to fabricate shit back in the day in the 90s. Yep. You used to have to make parts. And then it started becoming where, Jeep got on board and started building the Rubicon and making a more capable vehicle right off the showroom floor. Yep. And then it became bolt-on shit where people could bolt on suspension components, everything else to put bigger tires on and all that. Now, gearing, you still had to go to a gear shop because most people, and I don't touch gears. I know how to do it, but I don't.
Have our own fabrication, and I also don't touch it.
Right,
That's
and
the
it's
one
like
thing left that I don't touch.
And it's not as bad as automatic transmissions. It's a magic juice box, but still, okay. But now with what you just said, Joe Blow that can spin a wrench and be comfortable and knows the difference between a 1/2-inch wrench and a 9/16 wrench could fucking take the tires off his Jeep, bolt on some portals, and instantly have gear reduction and higher clearance.
Yeah. Even to speak to our experience so far, we've installed one set of portals, which are our prototypes.
Mm-hmm.
I started at 9:30 in the morning. We were driving at 7 p.m. First time ever installing the vehicle, So
we had all the hang-ups that you have with a prototype the first time.
Yeah,
you do it. Some stuff doesn't fit.
It just didn't work. We had to grind some stuff.
And you didn't have instructions to follow.
No, I mean, also the
or a YouTube video to watch.
We also had finished designing them 3 or 4 months before and kicked them off and whatever. So we were like, wait, how does this go together again?
Yeah,
right.
There's a little bit of gap there. But I mean, in total, you need to be able to lift the axle up, put jack stands under it. And it's 3 Allen keys and 2 or 3 sockets.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, pull your unit bearing off and slap.
It's about as easy as replacing unit bearings.
So what? Talk about the Jeep that you did this on. So what year and model and all that?
Yeah. So it's a 2015 JKU Sport.
Okay.
Started life as a Sport. We swapped, basically converted it to a Rubicon. So it's got Rubicon Dana 44s and a Rubicon transfer case, the 4 transfer case. And then
it's a Rubicon that you could have bought off the lot, but Scott made it a lot harder.
Right.
And it says Sport on the side instead.
It says Sport.
I bought the Jeep a year before we planned on doing this.
Okay.
This idea didn't exist when I bought the Jeep. It was just
this wasn't even a thought. Okay.
So we started with all that stuff, and then that's pretty much it. It has a 2.5-inch spacer lift.
Yeah.
It has the stock control arms.
$80 Amazon puck thing.
The crappiest lift you can possibly buy. We made a tie rod and a drag link for it because those are things that fail.
Sure.
It's got aftermarket track bars, and then it's got 37s, which we bought. So we bought the axles and drive shafts and the tires and wheels all together used because we're just we're trying to save pennies. We're doing this out of pocket.
Sure.
We don't have
it's
money.
It's the two of us. There's no VC.
Right?
Yeah. It's literally mostly out of my garage.
Yeah, a little out of my garage.
A little out of Matt's garage. So anyway, we built that up. But yeah, it's basically a Jeep with a few minor upgrades so it doesn't break down all the time. We don't have
sure.
or whatever. But yeah, it's just truss Dana 44s with 373 gears, stock axle shafts in the front. We provide, we have our own axle shafts that are full floater axle shafts for the rear.
Okay.
But yeah, we've beat the crap out of this thing.
Oh my God.
It does great.
The first time we took it out, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way this thing's gonna work."
Before portals or during?
With the portals.
Okay, with the portals.
We took it out with
which
the
was
portals.
just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was.
Well, the last time we drove it without the portals was you when we did the night run at
Sierra
Fordyce.
We don't do any night runs at Fordyce.
Sorry.
What are you talking about? No, I'm just kidding.
The day run.
It happens.
in the dark.
As much as I negate night runs, I really fucking love night runs. Night run. Anyways, okay, so we're getting a little. I want a little background on, but I do want to continue this. But like, you guys didn't just wake up one morning and go, "We want to fucking build portals," did you? So like, let's talk about your background. I know you're Cal Poly alum, San Luis Obispo, not fucking Pomona, because that
Go
Cal Poly doesn't
Mustangs,
count.
Or Humboldt now, apparently.
Oh,
Yeah.
but no. So talk about how you guys met and how this all inception before we get too far down this rabbit hole.
I'll go way back.
Oh, geez, here we go. I was born in...
But it's pretty close to that.
I put portals on my red wagon out of cardboard.
Oh, man.
Okay, all right, go on.
Yeah, so I basically, I don't want to say I grew up in the back of a CJ5, but I was in the back of a CJ5 a lot.
Nice.
I was a little kid.
I still have a
My
CJ5.
dad had started with a club and then bought we called it the Halloween Jeep, orange with black diamond plate on it.
Nice.
CJ5, and we did the Rubicon. We did everything. We did Sierra Trek, and so I grew up
this
with
is as a
that.
kid growing
As a
up
kid,
on.
My dad's got pictures of me when I was like 2.
Perfect. So
And my brother like standing under the Jeep, doing
Perfect.
that
Yeah,
thing,
yeah. So you were immersed in. You
And my
grew up
dad-
in the
my
Bay
dad-
Area.
My dad was a wedding photographer, so we didn't have a Jeep.
Yeah.
Hey, it's better than a wedding singer. Okay. All right, we got
so
that.
Over the years, he upgraded to a he upgraded to a CJ7 that he still has right now.
Oh, that's cool.
And still wheels. He's the. I don't know if you've ever seen the green CJ7 that he drives around in at Sierra Trek, but
I'm sure I have. If it's
probably.
been at Sierra Trek, I've seen
It's
it.
so good. He's so good at driving.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
ridiculous.
it's kind of ridiculous. So
Why didn't I meet him this year?
I don't know actually. We'll make that happen.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, he did that, and I think as I got out of college, got a job, and like got my first check as an adult,
Right.
And of course, I had an El Camino, actually an '85 El Camino that was my daily driver.
That's going way back.
And I was like, I should get a reliable piece of transportation to get to and from my big kid job. So I bought an XJ on 37s.
Oh, well, that was a
axle swap.
mistake. The El Camino was way more reliable.
I drove the El Camino more through those few years that I did the Jeep because it was not a fun thing to drive to work every day. So I bought that thing and have been wheeling it since. I still own it. And I think I skipped a little bit where I met Scott in college.
I was going to say,
Maybe
you
can,
just skipped over
I
college
can-
like you
I can
you
feel
went
that.
through
I just
college
got
in
so
like
excited
2
to
years.
talk about the
Yeah,
XJ
the thing
sometimes.
about being in mechanical engineering college, it's easy.
Right.
It's
Piece of cake.
you forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, nothing.
It's not blood,
Here,
sweat, and
sign
tears
this.
and-
Here, sign your diploma. You're good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so we met at Cal Poly.
Yep.
What year are we talking now? I know this was way
graduated.
after
I
me.
started Cal Poly in 2010.
Oh,
Matt's a
shit.
year younger than me, so he started in 2011.
I graduated in 98.
Okay.
A small
That
gap
was like,
there. It's not that far.
That's first grade. For
Yeah, exactly. Okay, go on. Go on, fuckers.
Kindergarten, yeah.
No,
That's
but I actually, before I was at Cal Poly, I had been into motocross, not racing, but just riding. And literally like 6 days before, I crashed at Gorman.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
Hungry Valley
Yeah,
track,
yeah.
And I broke my collarbone.
Oh, geez.
So 5-6 days before, I'm moving into my freshman dorm. I'm walking in with
You're
a
all
sling.
you're all jacked
my
up.
parents had to like move me in because I
Oh
only
my
had one arm.
God.
Really.
They're like, this is a train
But-
wreck already.
So then I go to the club showcase thing that they have for freshmen, and I see the Baja SAE club, and I was like, I don't need to have 2 arms for this. No, actually, I saw the roll cage,
There's
and I
another
was like,
good story about you not having your shoulder for one of those
Oh,
driving
yeah,
that
okay, I'll
car.
talk about
Uh-oh.
But yeah, I mean, I saw the Baja car, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do.
That's
like,
cool.
That's cool. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we build the whole thing from scratch, and I'm like, oh yeah, like this is basically dirt bikes, but I get to like nerd out more,
Right.
and
Yeah.
build them. And then that turned into like eventually me leading the team, and then eventually building a gearbox, and that's kind of
Oh,
how Matt and I
wow.
got started with gears. It was like my 4th year, Matt's 3rd year. We designed a gearbox.
So when
for
did
the-
you meet? Did you meet first
So that
year?
was my first year. I was a year behind Scott. So
Okay.
I had the same experience. Go to the club showcase,
Yeah.
see the Baja car,
Yeah.
and go, oh, this is the coolest
Yeah.
motor. And I
Yeah.
remember like talking. I was like a senior talking to freshmen later on down the line, and I remember going to like an assembly thing to try and get people to join. And I was like, my experience was I walked in, I saw it, and I was like, I like these things. I like dirt. And that was it. That's
Yeah,
all I said.
yeah, you're
I was like,
right.
I like dirt. And then
I like dirt.
This is cool. okay, I'm gonna join the team.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't realize with the Baja SA team. So it's just for people that
Yeah.
don't know, it's basically like a little mini dune buggy thing that's
Sure.
run off of or used
It's
to
like
be.
an off-road go-kart.
It's like like a Honda Odyssey, but
Yeah.
like 12 horsepower instead of whatever those are.
Yeah.
And you literally
Yeah, we're not talking trophy trucks
No,
here.
no. They go like 30, 35 miles an hour, but literally we like TIG welded the
Sure,
chassis.
yeah.
Like machined the parts, so like it's student built. And yeah, just like I don't remember.
Well, and
what happened with
that's the cool thing with Cal Poly is it is all, learning by doing is their motto. And you're like 1 hour lecture, 3 hour lab,
Yeah.
and you get a ton of hands on, and there's a lot of people that are fired up by like, okay, yeah, the lecture boring, but now I get to freaking apply this shit
My
and
class on machining.
fire up an arc welder or bender or whatever it may be. Yeah, whatever it is at the school there, and it's super cool.
They have all the equipment you could ever.
It
want
does.
and
I mean,
need.
they're.
I miss that place a little bit.
Yeah, I do too. I would never get in today, but I'm
Honestly, I'd be concerned I'd have the same problem.
so glad I got in and how I got in, and it all worked out. But my God, what an experience! I mean, just a cool campus, cool environment to learn in, and they do. I mean, that learning by doing deal. So okay, so you guys meet, you're doing this Baja 12 horsepower thing, and go, fuck, we could do something better. So how's that evolved from there?
Well, fast forward 8 years, something like that.
Yeah, so I bought the XJ actually, and then
he bought the XJ.
basically that started just a trend within my friend group that we all were on the Baja team.
Okay.
But a lot of them hadn't really gotten into Jeeps and stuff before. So I bought the XJ, and we all ended up in the Bay Area for one reason or another.
Right.
Day jobs and everything.
Sure.
So I had that Jeep. Another friend bought a Jeep, and as soon as the two of us had them, Scott was like, "Oh, I got to."
Oh, shit, I gotta get a
So I
Jeep.
went and bought a
Yeah.
ZJ.
You bought
Yeah.
a ZJ, so we had
Okay.
2 XJs, a ZJ, and then I think we're up to like 6 or 7 people with rigs now,
Okay.
and they're all a very, XJs or ZJs or something.
And we refer to ourselves as the frameless wonders. Because
Yeah.
none of us have a frame.
You're soulless. It
Yeah.
should be soulless, not frameless. You're soulless. But go on, let's call it what it is. But that's all right. You can go with frameless.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So then, last year I was on a work trip visiting a supplier that does machining and manufacturing.
Okay.
Whatever, and I walked by. It was a steering knuckle for I don't even know what it was, some kind of. And they were like, "Oh yeah, these are like parts that we make for Bosch." And then I saw some other like gearbox thing, and I was like, "Oh, you guys make gearboxes and stuff." And like maybe a year before, we had seen that portals had started to come to the
Sure.
cheap market, the bolt-on market. And so I was like, well, I pulled up a website, showed them what a portal axle was. And I was like, do you guys think you could make this? And they're like, oh yeah, no problem. Just send us a design. We'll get it going. So I texted Matt that day. I was
No
like,
shit.
hey dude, you want to start a portal axle company? He goes, fuck yes.
Yeah, so I like downloaded my personal license of SolidWorks because I didn't use the company license. I was like, I'm gonna get my own. I think within like 5 days, I had like the first real rough prototype.
Okay,
right?
okay.
And then from there, it probably took us like I don't know 4 or 5 months of like back and forth and iterating to like get
Sure.
the prototype.
And basically,
design.
we just were like, we want to have enough of a design to get it quoted and find out, could we make
Is this even
viable
feasible?
business? Exactly.
Yeah.
So we hadn't even like measured any parts. We didn't know if it would mount. Like, it wouldn't have mounted up.
Yeah,
We're just like,
yeah.
Here's 4 gears, a couple of case halves.
I did some math on the
brake
gears
stuff.
and whatever, and like, so we kind of had the rough idea of the size and everything. Right. And then we sent it out. We made some basic drawings, sent it out for quotes, and it came back, and we're like, oh yeah, we could make money doing
This
this.
could
I
work.
remember you called me up and you were like, "So are we like starting a company now?" Or and I was like, "Yeah, we have to." Like the price.
How long ago was that?
That was December of last year.
December of last.
Okay,
year.
10 months ago?
So 10 months ago.
And
You
then
guys, so from inception, and then like, okay, we're getting fucking serious. This is December of 23.
Yep.
And here we are sitting in this camper now, Studio L, of September of 24.
It's crazy when you say it.
Fucking 9 months later, basically.
Yeah, and the last 6 weeks have been the whirlwind of like,
Right, of it all
a bunch of time
culminating.
designing, and then you've got to send out for suppliers, and like it takes a while for all the stuff to all come
Mm-hmm.
because we're pulling from multiple suppliers, and the axles are coming from Dutchman or whatever, and then everything's coming, and then it all shows up, and it's like in the last like 5-6 weeks we've assembled it.
Well, we had Sierra Trek.
Yeah,
We had
Sierra
some of
Trek.
the parts. But we
Yeah.
were missing the gears
Yeah.
and the shafts. And then it was like the Wednesday after Sierra Trek.
All the gear showed up.
They showed up, and we're like, okay, we got to assemble.
Which is the first week of August.
Yeah,
first week of August. We got all the parts in, assembled it in a day, all the pieces that we had, and then spent another day putting it on the Jeep. And since then, it's been like every weekend. Both days of the weekend, we've been wheeling every single day.
We got it driving. We drove around the block. We had a few other things we had to modify, like the brake lines weren't long enough, typical stuff. We did that throughout the week. We made our little support brackets the next weekend. Then Monday was a holiday weekend, and so we came to Hollister here and drove it for the first time, and that was
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago?
Labor Day, right?
Yeah. 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, 3 weeks
and
ago.
Then from then, it's been Hollister. Then we went to Rubicon the next weekend. We went to, what's it called? Cantina for the Con.
Yeah, Cantina on the Con, yeah.
To the trail afterwards.
We did Cantina for the Con in the morning, got to the trailhead at like 2.
Okay.
And we were at Rubicon Springs at 7 o'clock.
No shit.
In that Jeep, on the prototype thing. We had driven it off-road one time before we went to the Rubicon.
And how many times have you done the Rubicon prior to that?
I personally been on the
Yeah,
Rubicon.
you've been on a lot as a kid,
Like
but
7. So enough.
okay, so you were familiar with it, and there wasn't
He's
much
pretty good at
traffic, but
driving,
still.
We also
that's
did take the
impressive.
same JK on the Rubicon earlier this year when it was on 32-inch
Yeah.
tires.
And just banging everything.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
was
Like,
so funny.
and man, I just started talking trash to everyone because like they'd look at me and I had like a straw hat on with a Portal Pro shirt, and I kind of look like a goof, And they would like look at me like, oh yeah, this guy, the stock JK classic, ends up on the Rubicon, has no idea what he's doing. I'm like, oh yeah. So I would like zip up every obstacle. I only got I need to get pulled out twice.
Yeah. We were at Buck Island, and people were like, how did you get that thing here?
That was when it was in its stock form.
It did have lockers. It had lockers.
Okay.
Stock Rubicon, though.
Yeah.
Effectively, yeah.
It was a
Yeah,
sport.
Yeah, exactly.
A sport with Rubicon and a
yeah.
Rubicon, yeah.
We cut
axles.
our time in by a third. By
Yeah,
putting the
yeah.
portals on.
Right.
So then we did Rubicon all the way through. and
So
then-
yeah, so let's not
okay,
gloss
okay.
over this shit because so you did it on 35s. 32s originally.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't lose with 32s. Can't lose with 42s is what the saying is now.
You can
But
lose with
You
32.
can definitely lose
I
with
used to have 32s on my CJ5. Okay, so then you're going through the Rubicon 32s and all the. Okay, great. Now fast forward to portals on the same Jeep, different axles and stuff. Obviously portals, and now you're running
37s.
37s.
Yeah.
Okay, so 37s with portals. So now you got what are we gonna say? 7-8 inches of clearance more.
Yeah, so
Yeah, something like that.
It was kind of funny when we first put the portals on. Scott texted us. He's like, I just measured the diff. Everybody in the group, go measure your differential.
Go
right
measure
now.
your diff.
Tell us how tall your differential.
Yeah.
I have a Commando that I've been working on in my garage for too many years.
Sure.
And it's on a Super Duty front. And
It's kind of a personal thing. Go measure your diff. Okay,
know.
go on.
It's got a Super Duty front axle and 39-inch tires.
Right.
And the front differential clearance is 11 3/4.
Wow.
Yeah, and mine under my Jeep, it's with the Dana 44, the 37s, it's like 15 and a half.
With the portals,
Jesus.
yeah.
Okay.
15 and a half. Yeah.
So driving now with portals 37s on the Rubicon just a couple weeks ago for right after Cantina. Talk about that. What was that like?
I mean,
Because you're hearing bang, 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 hitting
Yeah.
diffs and stuff before, and then what was it like now?
I've been wheeling on that trail a lot, and I have spotted a lot of people. And I honestly didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to spot anymore.
what do I do with my hands?
I was like, oh, no.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
You don't want to be in the hole. You want to be on the rock. And it's like,
Okay.
well, no, you just drive into the hole.
Right.
And it would just clear everything. And I'd
And
be
you're like-
I don't know what to do for you, man. Like, just,
You're like, just fucking drive.
drive.
Just fucking drive.
yeah, I mean, it was like, so we did the 32s on the Rubicon, and then I had the 37s when we did Sierra Trek.
Okay.
So we went to Fordyce. And the way I describe it is cheater mode.
Yeah.
Like, you
Sure.
can pick lines, but you don't have to.
You don't have to pick
It's
lines.
But I think
You intentionally were taking really
just the
terrible
wrong
lines
lines.
just to see what would happen, and it would just go, and it'd be like, oh, okay, I don't have to be here anymore. You just do your thing. I'll see you at Rubicon Springs or whatever.
So like I say, yeah, Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Jeep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the thing that I was realizing, like, initially was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, normally I would have to go this way and that way, whatever. I can go whichever way I want. The cool thing is it allows you to pick lines that are more optimal to get you to a thing. So, like,
Right.
you're going up to a soup bowl or something like that, and, like, maybe that's not a great example, but anyway, there's obstacles where like you have to get to it and do a certain line to get to it.
Sure.
And then you're at a weird angle and your rear axle's in the wrong spot or whatever. Kind of opens up more doors to go on the correct line or a better line to get to where you want to do the next obstacle. So it's like, yeah, it was.
Okay, so let me interpret that for our listeners. It gets you deeper into shit is what it does, because that's what I experienced when I got a buggy.
Sure.
That is 100%
A
true.
buggy with spooled and 43 stickies. It just got me deeper into shit.
for sure.
It made the basic stuff easier. Obviously, you know, Stevie Wonder could drive it. You don't have to pick. And they go, Jason, isn't that boring? No, it's not boring, because then you get into harder shit. And then, like, coming up here next week, I'll be at Trail Hero doing some stupid stuff, and I'll be in some crazy situation. It's like, I'd never be there in my Jeep, you know, but here we are in the buggy.
We're looking forward to trying to follow you on those stupid
okay,
lines in our portals on
One
Trail
of the
Perfect.
things that came out of that reel that we were talking about on Instagram,
Yeah.
showing our display, was that people were like, we want to see a 43-inch versus a 35-inch
Right.
with portals comparison. We have 37s, so we're going to definitely be challenging when we're at Trail Hero.
Yeah. You guys been out there before?
No,
it's
never
our
been
first
there.
time.
Oh, I fucking love it. I love newbies at Trail Hero. You're driving on 80 grit sandpaper, first of all. So gravity is like non-existent. It's turned off out there. It's stupid. And it's beautiful. It's different scenery. I love the Sierras, but yeah, exactly. But with that said, I always look forward to going out to this area because it's got its own beauty. There's like 2 trees on the entire property, but it's this red rock, and Moab's got its own beauty and stuff too. But this is like Moab with like some hardcore rock crawling, all kind of mixed in. And you pick your poison. I mean, and the cool thing is, most of the trails, not all, when you start getting up into the 9, 10, 11 rated trails, those are you're pretty much committed. Once you go in, you're either backing out or going forward. But most of the other trails, we could go out with side-by-sides, a stock Jeep, Dave Wong fucking buggy that's, the best of the best.
Yeah.
And we could all have a good time on the trail, and Dave Wong's going to do some stupid line, and we're like, okay, that's fucking cool, but we're going around. And you can go around that obstacle and continue up the trail with everybody. And that's what's super cool about it. And the trails are like a mile, 2 miles long. I mean, so you link up 2, 3, 4 trails, go have lunch, and go link up 2, 3, 4 more trails after lunch, and you're back by 4 o'clock, and you're having dinner. And I mean, it's just, and you sit in camp and you look up, and it's just like, I call it like Disneyland, because you look up on the hill and all the rock lights and light bars and shit at night, and you're just watching, and then you'll see smoke come up, and somebody rolled over, and it's just it's a cool spot. You're gonna lose your shit out
Are
there.
you sensing a problematic amount of peer pressure?
Yeah, no peer pressure for
Hang out with
me.
some buggy guys, and
No,
they're
but
like,
we're-
"Whoa, you thought portals."
No peer pressure for me, but we're doing joint effort. But all right.
Not that Scott succumbs to peer pressure ever.
Okay, so Rubicon was like, okay, this is a game changer, obviously.
After we went through the stuff we did at Hollister, trails that I have never done before because I had an XJ on 37s. Like, we did parts of Upper McCrazy that I've never done before.
See?
That and Rubicon, and we hit the end of Rubicon, and I was like, oh, this is real right now. Like, it was real when the prototype showed up, but like when they worked and everything was great and nothing broke,
So
it was amazing.
So here's the cool thing. So one thing that I can relate, but you're taking it like 10 more steps further, is like building your own vehicle that can conquer trails like that, right? So I've experienced that in my CJ5. My dad and I built this CJ5 up, and I was able to, not only do the trail, but know, hey, you know what? I built this thing that made it up the trail. Now you guys take it a step further going, we just built some fucking portal that's even more, right? Like so that's got to be super gratifying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
And
think
with
we
your
actually-
experience, Matt, of like off-roading as a kid and watching everything.
And it's just all this progression of like,
Yeah.
I off-roaded as a kid, and then I went to school and
Right.
learned how to do this. We built a gearbox in college, and then it
You're
was
like
just
the American fucking dream
it
right
was
there.
just sitting in front of us, and we were like, man, we could make a portal. Why aren't more people doing this? And it's like, oh, right, we have built all of this stuff up for a bunch of time, and we can actually
Right.
make a portal. This is
Right.
so cool.
I mean, and like you're talking about kind of the first time you drive your Jeep or whatever, you axle swap it or whatever.
Sure.
It's like pretty big deal, and there's creaks and whatever. But like you're like, holy crap, I did it. When we drove. Not even when we drove, we had the Jeep on jack stands, and we just wanted to see, like, do all 4 portals spin?
Do they all go the same direction?
We put it, seriously. And you're just like, is it gonna whine? Is it gonna blow up?
Right.
We had it on jack stands, all 4, with no tires on, just the portals.
Right.
And I get in the car and start it and put it in drive, and they all spun. And Matt,
we both cried a little.
bit.
We both cried a little bit.
Yeah,
we both shed a
It's such
tear.
like an emotional,
Right.
It's been crazy.
Well, it's the pinnacle of what you've been working on.
Totally.
Yeah, we've been
Is
spending
this
a
shit-
bunch of time on
there's
this.
a lot of-
and
yeah, you-
sacrificing whatever else you got going on in your life.
So you got the education, you're putting this stuff together, everything works on the computer, right? And I'm doing air quotes here, but it works on the computer, but to see it in real life actually fucking work, that's cool. And then to bring it to a trail and see it work.
Just beat the ever living crap
Right.
out of it, and it still works.
Seriously, man, seriously. Yeah.
So that's cool. So so here we are. You're what, 6 weeks into testing? Is that about right?
Yeah, 4 to 6.
Yeah. And then there was a little snafu here a week ago or
Call it
so.
a snafu.
Okay.
It was. We'll say it's an intentional
a plan-
snafu.
Okay,
Planned
okay.
snafu.
Planned destruction.
Do you want to
Yeah.
give me
Yeah,
a
sure.
background?
Yeah, give me a little
So-
background. What do we got?
So you're staring at this model in your SolidWorks
Sure.
or whatever, and we designed the whole thing, and we did a bunch. You do all the math to make sure that the gears are going to be strong enough, and it's going to take the load that you want.
Sure.
A lot of that's estimated because you don't know. Dropping a Jeep on a rock, like it's kind of hard to estimate how much force you're going to see in those gear teeth and everything else. So we're like, we just way overdid it.
Okay.
So this is going to be way too strong for the gear size that we need. We're just going
Okay.
to oversize the width of the gear such that it's just really, really strong.
Okay.
And we were like, well, the math tells us that. We're going to also just, right before we kicked off the final prototypes, we were like, what if we went too big? And we ordered a set of slightly thinner.
Oh, no shit.
We ordered
Okay.
an 80% thin or 80% thickness and a 60% thickness gear set.
Of what you
Full set
originally
of what
designed.
we originally designed.
Okay.
And we put
Okay.
both of those into the portals that we put in the prototype.
Okay.
So
Well, what was the motivation for that though? Not just to make them weaker.
no, it's to learn that the math that we did was correct.
Sure.
That if we make one that's 60% and it still doesn't break, it means that we're way overdoing it.
Got it.
But if they do break, that means that, hey, the 100% ones are still good.
Right.
That means we know we're in the right range.
Right.
And then the other thing is, if we can narrow the gear width, we can actually narrow the portal. So that's one of the downsides, I guess you could say,
Okay.
about portals is that you are bolting on a whole gearbox where
Sure.
where your hub or your unit bearing used to go. So you're pushing the wheel out quite a bit, and that does put more stress on your ball joints, your
Sure.
axle tubes, and whatever.
Sure.
So if we can narrow that up a little bit, it would be nice.
It would help.
But obviously, we want it to be reliable.
Yeah.
So we put that 60% in the driver's side rear and the 80% in the passenger side rear because you put it in the
Interesting.
rear. You
Okay.
expect to see more load. You're trying to climb stuff.
Okay.
A lot of the weight's on the rear.
Sure.
You're trying to spin those tires.
Sure.
And that certainly bit us when you went to Slick Rock last weekend.
Well, so yeah, we did Rubicon, and then 5 days later, we went and joined the Joaquin Jeepers at their poker run in
Okay.
Slick Rock.
Yep.
And made it through 90% of the trail, and then I was going to try the optional line at Stair Steps.
The
I think
stair
it's called.
steps at
Yeah.
the very end, by
and
Union Reservoir.
I just,
Yep.
get on it, and then just gave it a little bit of goose, not too much, and the rear, you just hear...
Oh no!
And the guy that was
your classic transfer case or diff gears,
Yeah.
diff
Like when you
gears
hear
are gone
ring
or
gear,
whatever.
yeah. And so the guy that was filming me is like, or spotting me is like, dude, you just blew a ring gear. I'm like, there's no way.
No,
that was not
it's
enough to
impossible.
And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so we try and back up, and the back left tire is completely locked in
Okay,
place.
so then
It's
you
like,
knew.
Probably not a ring gear.
You knew right
There's a
away.
video of him being winched backwards and the tires just slide.
Oh no!
So thankfully, because we're doing product development
Yeah,
testing,
yeah.
we had a whole spare rear portal.
Like we kind of expected that this was going to happen.
we
You
thought that
expect
this was gonna
thinner
happen,
gears are not going to last. It was almost like a, man, can we go that thin?
Yeah.
And now the answer is
So yeah.
At least not what we're doing.
Yeah, the acid test.
We're
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
And there is a good video that we showed on our YouTube channel that's we tore it all apart. You can see all the gear teeth missing and whatever.
our failure analysis.
Yeah, we're
Some
trying to be
professor
an
that
open book and
Well, no, I love the transparency, right? So I mean, you guys are grass fucking roots, right? I mean, and
Two of us in a 2-car garage in Silicon Valley.
right? I mean, this is an Apple fucking story right here. I'm not kidding you, and I want in on the ground floor here so I can fucking buy some
That's why
stock.
we brought you here to this
Right?
show.
Okay, perfect. No, but
We got to talk to Chris about the Chris money situation. Where's the Chris money?
the Chris money hashtag the Chris money.
This is for you.
He's gonna be your VC. He's definitely.
that's what we need.
I'm not your VC. Lorenzo's not your VC, but Chris is your VC. So, anyways. No, it's cool that you guys are going about it super grassroots. I mean, this whole thing's organic, how it turned about, how you guys met each other, how, hey, let's make some fucking portals. Okay, and then boom, portals come about. You know, here, we got some plastic fucking portals at King of the Hammers, and everybody's going like, okay, that's fucking cool. And then now here we are, fast forward only, from Hammers, 7 months going, holy shit, we got a functioning thing, and you got it on the Jeep here at Hollister for the second time at Hollister, third time at Hollister, and you've already done Rubicon, Slick Rock, and then you're like, okay, let's just see if these gears that we spec'd out are right. Let's do a thinner gear, and then obviously that proves something right there.
Yeah.
So it's super cool. I love it because you're not the only game on the market. Everybody knows 74 Weld came on hot and heavy a couple years ago, and everybody's like drooling, like, "Oh my god," you know.
We were some of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were
right?
for it,
Yeah.
you know?
But then it's unobtainium when you find out the price. You know, you knew it was expensive because it looked expensive, and it's one of those parts that if you have to ask, you probably can't afford it. You know, because I saw that shit displayed a couple years ago in Hammertown, and I'm like, and my buddy's like, ooh, and I'm like, I'm not even looking because I can't afford it. I know I can't afford it.
look at all
Just
the
like,
benefits, that
right?
doesn't matter.
I'm like, it doesn't matter. I can't afford it. I don't even want to look at that. That's like looking at the hot
credit
blonde
card
at the
doesn't
end of
have
the
that.
bar. You know it's not going to happen. So I'm not even going to go there. But, here you guys are trying to build something competitive with the 74 Weld that's affordable, right? And you guys threw out at Sierra Trek, you're like, hey, early order, right? 10 grand for 4 portals.
Yeah. So our planned retail price is $15,000 for a set of 4 portals.
Okay.
And then we're doing what we're referring to as the early adopters program. And so,
Right.
yeah, like you said, $10,000 gets you a full set of portals. And that's basically going to be like our first order, maybe a couple of orders, just to help us get off the ground. We're incentivizing people to
Sure.
come on this journey with
Yeah.
us, and find out what the problems
Yeah.
I
are.
want you to bolt
Yeah.
them on and take them wheeling.
Yeah.
and
Go beat 'em
Tell-
up.
talk to us.
We
Yeah.
can put a lot of miles on the JK, but we
Sure.
can put
Yeah.
15
can't
rigs
beat
worth
that.
of
Right,
miles on it,
right,
you know?
right.
Like,
And different weights and different
Exactly, yeah.
wheelbases and whatever.
Different driving
applications.
styles, everything, right?
Yeah.
And
so,
the person that's just going, mall crawling as opposed to the person that's, hitting the Rubicon every other weekend.
Yeah.
we're trying to be like the in the JKs. We're trying to hit the top end of that. We're like, we're going
Yeah.
to wheel it as hard as we possibly can.
Right.
Yeah,
Which-
And make sure
perfect.
we're
Actually,
good.
so that brings us back to Slick Rock. So
Okay,
we're
good.
Replace that portal with
Okay.
the narrow, super narrow gears is what we're referring to. So we have like the standard gears, we have the narrow gears, and the super narrow gears. We glue that up, put the spare in, which has the standard gears. So
Right.
we weren't as worried about that.
Right.
Drive it from Slick Rock, or finish the trail, drive up to Truckee.
The same day.
So it was this Saturday.
Oh, shit.
Drove to Truckee that day. And then the next morning woke up and went down to Fordyce.
Yeah, you're right there.
And because the goal was go see if we could do Windchill 3.
Okay.
Actual Windchill 3.
Actual
at Windchill
box.
3.
The actual box at 3.
You
And
told
he
me-
didn't call me.
He told me that he was
All
going
right.
to do this, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is
Yeah,
the most ridiculous
I convinced-
weekend I could ever have planned. Is going to Slick
So-
Rock and then Fordyce."
So we referred to this other guy that bought a Jeep before I got mine. His name's Ian. He is the original 3 members of the Frameless Wonders is the 3
The
of us.
frameless wonder.
And he is
He's the instigator.
he's a badass driver and will try any line. And he's got a Cherokee on 35s. And it is...
shit.
It's bad. Like it's a badass. And he's a really good driver and whatever. So I
And
was
it
like,
works.
Hey man,
Yeah.
let's go do this thing afterwards. So yeah, he was the one that we were the only 2 that went together and went down to Windchill 3.
Shit.
And we drive down there, no big deal, no problem.
You
whatever,
came down from Meadow Lake?
from Meadow Lake.
Okay.
So we did 5 Windchill
Yep.
5,
5, 4, 3. Yep.
And then I went down and we kind of walked in, scoped out the line, and stacked a few rocks because it was so dug out. I mean, even when we were there a month. or
I
so
know.
ago, it was like, yeah, pretty dark. This was like way worse.
Yeah,
It was like terrible.
This is the post Sierra Trek.
Yeah,
Made it in there.
yeah.
Super dried out.
I was
whatever.
there a couple weeks ago. It was pretty gnarly.
Yeah. So walked through it, and then I was like, okay, let's try it. And it took an hour of like just struggling. And the other thing is, I don't have hydro assist either.
Oh
so,
yeah,
like,
steering.
once you have the locker, once you have the locker on,
You have no
you
steering.
can't steer, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's portals, no portals. It doesn't matter. Like it's pretty much the same. So it was hard to like get a specific line. You kind of get in a position. It was like,
Right.
yeah, okay, this is about right. And then Ian was spotting me and yelling, "Go driver, go driver!" I'm like,
I can't,
man.
I can't.
Like this is
I
all I
can't.
have, But eventually we got up like into the squeeze or whatever the
Yep.
top part of it.
Yep.
And the rear axle was just like both wheels were touching the either side rocks.
Yeah.
And there was no way it was
Nothing.
blowing up. Yeah. So we had to like back down.
But
and-
like the normal thing is everybody gets to that spot and they can't get to there because they hit the diff rock.
Right.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
diff rock is insane.
You
Yeah.
got portals, you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
about it.
Well,
Right.
Still worried about it with 37s.
Yeah.
Even with that, it was still like
Yeah.
diffed out pretty bad. I think again, if I had the hydro assist and was able to pick up different line, it could have gotten it situated better. But yeah, we tried like 5 or 6 different ways.
And you were hammering on it too.
Yeah, we were going pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually we like backed back down and then pulled it more passenger like up the right side. And yeah, like had to use a snatch block to pull me up from Ian's Jeep, and then I kind of drove it up. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know how many JKs you could go with stock axle shafts
No.
and go through there and
Yeah.
like
Even winching and
and
live to tell the tale.
then drive out of the rest of the trail, which is not trivial, and then drive home 200 miles to back to San
Yeah,
Jose,
you're not
you know?
trailering it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's driving
So
on.
That's crazy.
I think in the
That's
last-
super cool.
that was on Sunday. So,
That was Sunday.
5-6 days ago.
Oh shit, that was
So
just
You've had
Sunday.
the portals for 4 weeks or whatever, and you've put on like 2,000 road miles
Yeah.
and like 40 off-road miles and on those
Hardcore,
trails.
hardcore
Yeah.
off-road
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And we just want to make sure we're good before trail here.
No, that's good. Well, to give you a little insight, so I did, Meadow Fordyce is my favorite trail. So after Sierra Trek, we were there for a whole week, and we went down there, and we went down to Windshield 3 probably a dozen times. And so a couple times we just bypassed it and went down to committee and played and stuff, and then came up, and then it's like, okay, got to do the bogs. I didn't make it the first day. And I tried and tried and tried, and I couldn't make it. I got 43 spooled, blah, blah, blah. So, and I got, that diff rock fucks me up. It's a 110-inch wheelbase. If I had I swear, and like James's goat-built buggy is like 112 or 114. Those extra few inches on wheelbase made all the difference in the world. He's got 43, same setup, got plenty of power, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not making excuses because I didn't make it. But this is the game. I've been playing this game for over 30 fucking years of four-wheeling. There's no perfect wheelbase. There's no perfect setup. But so then the next day we go down there and I go, I've got to make fucking Windshield 3. So, and I was trying to hang that right side. It was like the buggy was hooking up and then it would get wedged at the top and there's this undercut rock. And I mean, I have mechanical sympathy. Not a lot of drivers have mechanical sympathy. I've run a lot of heavy equipment and shit, and it's like you can feel shit binding. You feel the motor loading up, and something's going to snap, and that shit gets expensive. And so I'm like, nope, back off. And then, anyways, whatever. I found the magic fucking recipe, and it finally made it up. So I walked through it. I didn't walk through it. I made it under my own power, I will say, the second time. I tried it a third time. Nope, denied. Again, fucking wedged. So it's just...
Makes us feel good.
It is, no. But that's the cool thing, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I mean, there's some people, oh, no, I fucking walked that shit, no problem. Bullshit. Fucking 20 Coors Lights later, your fucking shit was still stuck in fucking Windshield 3. I get it. And I've seen fucking badass drivers struggle in Windshield 3, and that's the beauty of Windshield 3. It's like that. It's a game of inches and centimeters when it comes to Windshield 3, and that diff rock has not fucking changed. I have pictures of that diff rock from fucking 30 years ago. So anyways, that's Windshield 3 and my love-hate relationship with Windshield 3.
My dad's got a similar story of 30 years ago when trying to fit between it, and he's like, man, I used to fit right between the squeeze rock. It was
Right.
totally fine.
Right.
And then you went back a few years later, and it didn't fit anymore.
No.
It's like, what the heck?
So one other fun fact I will add: my CJ5, I went out to Moab. I broke a front axle. It was just a fucking U-joint, but to me, it was like the whole front axle was shit. It was a Dana 30, right? No locker, and so I'm like, I need new axles, one and done. I ended up buying Dynatrac axles, and so then you spec them out.
You had
What
portal
with
money. Wow.
What? Yeah. What with the? And I look back on that and I go, fuck. But I got a killer deal. I got both front and rear Dynatrac fucking Pro Rock 60s right after they came out for less than $10,000 for both
That's
axles.
like $25,000.
Exactly. But this is way back when, right?
Yeah.
But that was a shit ton of money back then too. But he's like, okay, how wide do you want them? And I'm like, I went and fucking measured the width of windshield
I want the
3.
squeeze.
And I want the
fit through
squeeze. I got to be able to make it through windshield 3. And that's how I designed my axles on my CJ5. Little fun fact there. Anyways.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So our outer width to the tires is like 87 or 88.
Uh-huh.
That's too wide.
That's my buggy. My
It's
buggy's
a little bit wider
89.
than your Super Duty width.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
So how much does the portals add?
So it's 4 inches of height and then 4 inches per side of width.
Okay, so
like
8
with
inches
8
overall.
WMS,
Assuming your stock wheel.
Yeah.
you don't
Right.
change your wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
But
WMS
you could buy
that's-
aftermarket wheels and suck them in a little bit more and
That's
gain a
something
couple
we're working
inches
on, too,
back.
is we ordered a set of really offset wheels. So
Okay.
Not really, but even just they're
It's
2-inch ins.
So like what we're running right now, which is giving us the 87, 88 inch
Uh-huh.
outside width to the tire,
Uh-huh.
the WMS. It's a 17 by 9 with 4.5 inches back spacing, so it's basically centered.
Okay.
And we ordered some 17 by 8.5 that are 6.5 inches back spacing, so plus 2 inches. Basically.
Yeah.
So our overall outer width will be reduced by 4 inches.
Yeah.
So,
So
at
that's
that point, we're 80.
that's pretty good.
ish.
Yeah.
And like that's
Yeah.
where we need to be.
So you mentioned axles earlier. So do you have to change axles when you put portals on?
So fortunately, the way that we've set it up is you don't, right?
Right.
You've got
I thought, okay.
a stock JK Rubicon or stock JL
Mhm.
Rubicon or whatever. It's got a Data 44 with a locker in it.
Right.
That's a pretty good setup, but you're not going to run 43s on it.
Right.
But this is, you bolt it on, you pull your unit bearing off, bolt it directly to the knuckle,
Okay.
and that's it. You keep
Boom.
your stock 44 Rubicon, you slap on your 37s or your 40s, whatever you want to run, and now you've got a much more capable axle, and you're calling it your effective ring gear diameter, because you've got a reduction after all of your drive
Right.
shaft, your ring gear, and everything. The forces that your ring gear and your drive shaft see are lower,
And your axle shafts.
and your
your
axle
joints.
shafts and your U joints, everything is
Wow.
lower, which means that your ring gear diameter is now 20% stronger because of the gear reduction out at the wheel.
Just with the portal.
Just with the portal. You just
Yeah.
bolted this thing on, and now you've got the strength of a 1-ton axle without having to
Yeah, because
spend on Dynatrac.
I purposely made that comment today in front of you guys, like how cute your little axles were in the Jeep, because I knew that. I didn't know the exact number, 20%, but
Right.
but that's one of the key points, one of the key takeaways, because that was why I went and put 1-ton axles on my Jeep, because all those stresses and forces as you increase tire size from 32, 35, and I was putting 37s on.
Yeah.
And I'm back to 37s now.
And that's pretty much what we're trying to enable is people like us that want to run the Rubicon, Ford Ice, whatever, want to run 35s, 37s, and like not worry about it. So we have, obviously the portal gives you the lift, pushes you out a little bit wider, but it also has the 1.25 reduction in it.
Yeah.
So what it effectively does is takes your existing axle ratio and then you multiply that by 1.25. So for example, like what we have in our JK, stock Rubicon Dana 44s from a JK, 373 gears is what they come with.
Right.
So you multiply that by 1.25, you end up with
Super
466.
Yeah, perfect.
And then, or if you have a 410, like some of them come with 410 gears, you end up at 513. And then
That's what my buggy has. 513. My Jeep has
You
456s.
can bolt on your 513s.
Right.
yeah,
And
so-
that's
and, so
and
you can run
again,
a 37 or a 40 and not have a problem.
so going back to what we talked about, bolt-on shit, like none of us in this camper do ring and pinion gears,
Yeah.
but we can bolt shit on, and I could bolt on a portal and just did a ring and pinion, essentially. I just reduced my gear ratio, and that's my point. It's like, that's super fucking attractive,
And-
right?
And even just like the replacing of axles. Like
Right.
I was talking about his Jeepster Commando that he has, that he put a
Yeah,
Dana
Super
60
Duty
front,
and a Dana 70 in the
Dana
back.
70 rear.
Yeah.
And then on my ZJ, I actually had Dana 44s originally. And
Right.
I blew up. I chipped a ring or a spider gear at Hammers like 2 years ago and replaced it with Super Duty axles.
Okay.
And I did all that stuff in my garage and like cutting the brackets and welding everything. Like we have the capability to do that.
We just don't want to.
We don't fucking want to. It's
tiring.
terrible. and honestly, most people don't, right? Like
No.
you don't have an access
No,
to a
you don't-
welder.
no.
And, like, know how to do that stuff and know
Or
how
a
to set up
7-inch
it.
angle grinder to cut off the
Right.
brackets on a Super Duty axle.
So like
With the guard removed
Yeah.
or not.
I was wearing safety glasses.
Sandals, but also safety glasses.
Sandal had your safety Crocs on
Yeah.
in 4-wheel drive mode.
But yeah, this is just an option that basically gives you like maybe not 1-ton strength, but 1-ton performance.
Sure.
That you can do with hand tools instead
Yeah.
of a welder, a grinder,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
So you're still early on in the production. Trail Hero is going to be a huge testing ground because traction is ultimate out there and undercut. That is the word of the day at Trail Hero. When you get on these trails, you're going to see some undercut shit. And I mean, Rubicon, beautiful trail. Fordyce, my favorite trail of all time. Beautiful and hard. But you get out to Trail Hero, you're going to see some shit that's going to make you go, holy shit, we're driving up that? Yeah, you are.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, good. Good.
Looking forward to making him drive.
Okay, perfect. It's great. I love, and I've only been there for 4 years, and it is the most scared I have ever been wheeling. Every fucking year I go out there.
We went to Moab a year ago, and even that was like, okay, we went through Pritchett Canyon, and we did some of the really tough trails out in Moab.
Yeah.
And I came back and we ran Rubicon, and I was like, why have I ever been scared of Rubicon?
Right,
It's just-
right.
It's so
Level of,
different.
like-
It's different.
like,
It's
yeah.
different.
Rubicon, like around here, you have more rocks and more
Yeah.
technical. And
Yeah.
at Moab, at least, it's
Just
like
ledges
it's
and
more
off
commitment.
camber.
It
Yeah,
is.
it is.
not-
It's
But
commitment.
and that's the problem. And here's where it gets real at Trail Hero, just like Moab and stuff. You get up on some trails and the harder stuff that's on ledges and shit, and it's a gnarly obstacle that you're just driving. But the consequences are you might fall down 90 feet.
Yeah. You don't have
And you're looking down,
you
you're
don't
like,
have a
oh
nice
shit.
tree to lean on,
Right.
or a rock to lean
Right.
on.
Like Rubicon, kind of the worst thing that can happen at Rubicon, you lay on your side,
Right.
At Trail Hero,
Which we saw 2 weeks ago.
you may roll a lot, and not all the trails are like that, but there's areas, but the undercut shit, I mean, there's shit that's undercut like 5 feet, and you're like, what? But then it climbs it. Your Jeep, buggy, whatever you're driving, climbs it, and you're like, holy shit. So do you have an atlas in that thing, or you can't select
No, it's
front
just,
and rear?
no. It's just the 4-to-1 Rubicon transfer.
Okay,
so
okay. Well, that's good, but I have never shifted my transfer case more than I ever have at
I believe that.
Trail Hero. I'm taking front and rear, and actually Randy Slauson taught me a lot about that because Rubicon, Fordyce, you put it in 4-wheel low, you stay in 4-wheel low.
Yeah.
You rarely have to do a front dig or rear dig or whatever. Fucking Trail Hero, you come up on an obstacle, you got to pull that rear out because your rear is pushing your front into this undercut, which is it's going to be good for you guys testing the portals because it's going to put a shit ton of force on everything. And the traction's there. Tires aren't going to slip. Something's going to slip, and it's going to be a fucking gear or a fucking axle or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so the forces out there are insane. And you're going to feel that. If you have any bit of mechanical sympathy, you'll feel it at Trail Hero, Sand Hollow
Designing
Park.
the portals gave us a lot of mechanical sympathy. I would say. I know exactly how much math went into
Perfect.
this thing.
So so you guys are hypersensitive to it. So I'm looking forward to doing some trails with you
I'm
guys out
very
there. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. Okay, so Trail Hero's future, but let's look a little ahead of this thing. What are you guys forecasting here with Portal Pros?
Yeah, so at least like in the immediate future, the next 6-8 months, something like that. So we're going to be doing testing through the end of the year. So we've got a few more months. And
Okay.
we're planning on taking early adopters deposits.
Okay.
January-ish, and then hoping to deliver like March.
Yeah, and
March
it's
or
all
April.
that testing is going to feed into some new design changes, and just all the little stuff that you
Okay.
find when you actually
Sure.
assemble stuff and make sure you put it together.
And we
All
we
that's
found
gonna-
some stuff. I mean,
for sure. Yeah,
You've already found stuff, yeah.
we've got a list of a lot of minor little, this
Sure.
screw doesn't really work, but there's some things that we like really need to redesign.
Right.
It just
And
doesn't.
that's why we tested them out ourselves, because we didn't want to send it out into the world until we knew that it's good.
Yeah.
So we'll redesign them after all of this testing, and then go to the early adopters sometime early next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's our rough time.
Yeah.
6 months or so from now, we should have customers with portals in hand.
Okay.
And they'll start testing, and then we're going to start off with a few different applications. So we've obviously got the JK, JLs, JTs, the Gladiators, and then we're also doing Toyota IFS stuff. So Tacomas, Forerunners, all the like the last 20 years or so of those two vehicles, and so we're going to be hopefully getting all those by like June.
Okay.
Early adopters will be like totally
Okay.
covered, and then retail sales will start
Sometime
summer.
after that,
Yeah.
Okay.
Towards the end of the
That's
year.
pretty accelerated timeline, actually.
And from there, the way we designed the whole gearbox is such that like we made it as universal as we can. So like we have our main gearbox in the center, and then you've got a drive flange on one side and an adapter plate on the other side. So
Okay.
if you want to go from your JK to even a Tacoma, it's
If you,
not
if you
that
want to
many
betray
parts.
the Jeep,
Really?
If you really want, or if you have given up on your Tacoma and you really want to get into
There
the Jeep,
you go. That's even
you
better.
can take them off your Tacoma, change out the
Because
adapter
Toyotas
plate,
suck. Okay, go on.
and a couple other pieces, and the main gearbox stays the same, which for us means that we can bring the cost down because it's
Sure.
the same universal design. It also means that we can start to bring it to more vehicles quicker.
That's
Because we
cool.
don't have to redesign the entire spindle, upright, knuckle, anything.
Yeah.
It's just anything that's got a unit bearing. Pull the unit bearing off, and we'll
We make an adapter plate.
Make an adapter plate, adapt to the input splines of whatever axle shaft it is, Toyota or Jeep, and then put on whatever bolt pattern you want.
or Bronco. Let's not leave them out.
And there's Fords in there. Yeah.
There's some Fords in there.
We'll get to Super Duties at some point.
There you
Super
go. Oh,
Duties, yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hey, Lorenzo just handed me a note. He said anybody that buys a JL Portal is going to get a $250 Starbucks card. Is that true? Gift card? Is that true?
I thought Chris said
Wait.
Lorenzo wasn't doing that.
Wait, why do you need a Starbucks card when you have your own?
You have your own latte
maker?
machine.
Well, it just enhances it. It enhances it.
You get the Starbucks beans.
You can buy the coffee.
Yeah.
You can buy the coffee to put in your latte
You know what?
maker.
Anyone that buys portals from us, we'll buy you a coffee. We'll buy
Okay,
you-
there you go. Hey, there you go. You heard it here first at Wheel and Wine and Whiskey. We give till it hurts
Yeah.
here. You get
Give
a
us
free
15
coffee.
grand, we'll give you a
free
$6
coffee with
coffee.
portals. Free coffee with
We'll let
portals.
you even go up to the pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah, pumpkin spice, yeah.
Too funny. Okay, so that's cool. So yeah, I mean, obviously you're testing on the Jeep, but the concept is there to move to different platforms, right?
And obviously, it has such a big impact on IFS vehicles.
Yeah.
right? Like to not anytime you try and lift your IFS, it's like you change CV angles and you cause all these problems with steering and everything else.
That's probably the biggest advantage, right? Like, exactly. It's just hard to make an IFS,
Yeah.
factory IFS, more off-road capable, but a
Right.
portal? Oh, shit.
Yeah, and even that's I think why a lot of the Ultra 4 racers that are doing IFS are also showing some portal or using portals now. Where they can.
Absolutely. It is fun to watch the Ultra 4 circuit, and we talk a lot about it here on the podcast, and I love the innovation and stuff, and there's always the battle, solid axle, IFS. I mean, you go back to Randy Slauson. I mean, super, I don't want to say basic because his fucking rigs are not basic. They're far from basic, but they're
Maybe
solid axle.
Elegant is a good word.
Yeah, they're elegantly basic. Let's say that. I mean, solid axle, and obviously he's a fucking wheelman that can fucking make it
I think
work.
the driver mod really makes it.
It really does, but
Lawson in the seat, it
but then
matter.
you got the Shannon Campbell, the Jason Shears, and the Paul Wolf driving the Joe Thompson, chassis and stuff, and all these different IFS, IRS. If you got Gomez money, it's interesting to watch. I still you put my feet to the fire. Solid axle at King of the Hammers all day long, but. You cannot deny this shit. But anyways, that's a whole nother podcast, right? But it's cool. It's cool. I love the technology. I love what you guys are doing. I love how it is grassroots, making shit happen, from just a couple simple, stupid conversations like, hey, what do you think? Let's make some portal.
I
Okay.
got an engineering degree.
And,
right?
and I love competition. 74 Weld obviously out there have made their product and out there in the marketplace. But man, I wish you guys the best of luck. And we're on the ground floor here, and I guarantee a year from now we're going to have another podcast and go, look at what we fucking talked about, what we're doing now, right? But you can't give up, and I love how you're transparent, and that's the key, because you can, fucking Instagram, everybody post all their good shit. Oh, yeah, fuck, I'm in Hawaii, and I did this, and this is great, and I made it up windshield 3. Very few people show their fucking, failures. We all have failures. Shit happens. Life happens. And I think that's the key, is just keeping transparent. Like, hey, we're learning from this process. We know shit's going to break. We know... it's not going to be perfect right out of the box, but we're going to make it perfect. We're striving to make it perfect, and that's the fucking mantra, right? Yeah.
The Cal Poly ingrained into it,
right? And that's what I'm.
This is the engineering process.
Yeah,
you build it, you break it, you build it again.
Yeah,
that's what we did when we were in college, right? We had the Baja car. We would go build it up, and then go and break it. Find out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
freshman engineers didn't know what we were doing,
and then figure out why it broke, and how do we make it better?
Carry that forward.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's exactly it. No, it's fucking awesome, man. I'm excited. Super cool. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule.
Oh
yeah,
this is a trip,
you started
man.
doing the intro, and I was like, oh my god, I'm on the podcast.
I'm on a podcast.
This is so cool.
Or nothing.
I've listened to this podcast so many times.
Oh yeah.
I think you talk about all the time, all the people you meet and whatever because of the podcast. We've been going through the same transformation of like we had a call with the guy from Flex Rocks and Rollovers the other day.
Oh yeah.
He's like, hey,
Marvin.
You wanna do this?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as you're learning, and you're going to learn more, I mean, our community is super cool. It's super tight. We're all gearheads. We all, everybody's got their deal. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we sit around the campfire, and, we fucking, Toyotas suck. I got to say it, second time on the podcast. But at the end of the day, we're all wheelers, right? And I don't care if you're driving a Toyota, a Suzuki, a fucking, Jeep, whatever it is.
We're gonna build a portal for you.
Clapped out buggy, right? I mean, we at the end of the day, we all get out there and have fun, and there's very, very, very few people I've met off-roading that I would never go off-roading with, right? No. So it's super cool. People break down, you come up, hey, you need anything? Yeah, I need XYZ. Oh yeah, I got that. I got a welder.
Ridiculous story.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So Scott,
here we go.
Right when Scott chipped the first Rubicon trip with the ZJ.
Okay.
He broke a rear axle shaft, and we're towing him up, whatever obstacle it was, and we get him off of it, and he goes to turn, and he can't turn.
Right.
Like, why can't I turn off the trail? And we look under, he's also broken a pitman arm at the same time.
Oh, there.
So I'm, he's fixing the axle shaft or pulling it out or doing whatever you're doing. And I'm standing at the side of the trail. There's just a group of 20 rigs going.
Sure.
I'm just asking everybody if they have a pitman arm. And this guy in a CJ7 that was really well built.
Fucking random.
Looks at me, doesn't say anything. I was like, you got a pitman arm for, whatever Saginaw steering box. He looks at me, doesn't say anything, reaches under his seat, picks it up and just hands it to me.
Oh my god!
Never leaves it in first gear. Just cruises by.
Didn't even fucking stop.
Didn't stop.
Didn't even
just
fucking stop.
Kept going. Here, I was like, man, can I give you any money? Or he didn't say anything. He just kept going.
Pay it forward. Pay it forward. Help somebody else out.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Isn't it great?
It was fantastic. One of the best
trail repairs are so. I secretly, and I've said it here on the podcast, I don't like to break myself because I never want to be that guy. I've been that guy several times, but I never want to be that guy. But when somebody breaks, I'm kind of laugh like a little kid inside, like, okay, let's all put on our fucking MacGyver hats and figure this shit out because we have limited resources out on the trail. And it's like, some of the shit we've done over the years to get shit off the trail is amazing. Yeah. And I secretly love that part about four-wheel.
It's so fun.
Why did I get a buggy? Because I don't like to work on my shit out on the trail. It's way overbuilt and great. Not saying that I ever break because I still do, but I don't break as much as I used to. Yeah. And it's cool. I love the ingenuity of people, and we're just a different breed out there, and everybody adds something to the party, whether it be I've had people that have zero mechanical knowledge their mechanic does all their shit, and that's fine. Whatever. You got the money to do that, great. But they're like, hey, can I bring you a beer? Can I hand you a wrench? They're in the mix too.
Yeah, of course.
And they want to learn, like, what are you doing right now? Why are you fucking tying this, high lift jack handle to my fucking steering arm? Well, this is going to get you
a wrench to my tie rod.
why are you welding my fucking $45 Snap-on wrench to this shit? Because that's the only metal we have right now. Okay, that's why we're doing it. So, anyways. Good shit. I love it. Best of luck to you guys. You guys are definitely on the right track. Have the right attitude. We're going to be doing another podcast with a follow-up here of all the different fucking vehicles you guys got going on and success. And I love it. Any final thoughts? Anything we didn't cover?
Portals for everyone.
Yeah,
Portals for everyone. Hashtag portals for everyone.
I think we would be. We need to say thank you to all of our buddies, mainly the Frameless Wonders.
The Frameless Wonder. We're going to call it,
our wives.
And our wives for,
supporting.
letting us do this stupid idea.
It's not stupid if it works. It's not stupid if it works.
It's a great idea.
It's been so much fun. The last,
and we couldn't have done it without all of their help and support, and knowing that they're standing behind us and cheering us on.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure financially it's been a strain and trying to get shit to happen, right?
Self-funded.
There you go. And that's
start getting customers.
Right. So
give us some money.
If you're listening, get on that early order program. Chris, we need your credit card.
Yeah. YJ needs an update.
Right. So no, that's freaking awesome, man. Well, let's go drink some whiskey by the campfire and sort out some more gear issues and shit, and other vehicles we can put portals on. And thanks guys for being here, and looking forward to some future conversations. And oh my God, Trail Hero, we might have to get you back on at Trail Hero to see what you think of Trail Hero.
Trail Hero wrap up.
I'm fucking looking forward to it. I love it. I love it. Well, there you go. Portals for everyone. Hashtag portals for everyone. I like it.
Yeehaw. Put 37s on a standard lift. That'd be great.
It's there's a lot of advantages, as we discussed, and portals are a thing now. It used to be kind of a Unimog thing back in the day, Fugazi stuff going on there, and then
Hummers had them.
Yeah,
the original H1 Hummer.
And then it went into the professional rock crawling Wee Rocks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They started using these portals, and then of course Jesse Haynes came up with his portal, and mic drop. It's the thing to have now. So 74 Weld came out a few years ago, and obviously they've been shaking up the market too. So competition's a good thing, and I think 74 Weld has its place in the racing arena, but portals for everyone is their motto, and it's like let's get something that's not unattainium, something that people can get their hands on and actually bolt onto their rig, and have a freaking high clearance and the gear reduction, and still got your stock 44 axle.
Right, and you can put 37s on it with no issues, man. That'd be cool.
Exactly.
Or 40s. I don't know if anybody's stuffed 40s on them, but maybe 40s might be pushing a 44, but 37s for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Easy peasy. So, cool stuff. Check them out. Go on to the grams. It's portal_pros. Cool. And, man, they've jumped up to 12,600 followers now. Ooh. So they are making it happen. Just follow them, because they are putting it through the test right now and putting a lot of road miles on, a lot of off-road miles. They're going to be at Trail Hero. So cool. Looking forward to wheeling with them out there, and it's definitely going to put those portals to the test out there with the traction that you get and all the fun not so fun binding situations you get yourself into with undercuts and ledges.
Right.
Oh my.
Cuts and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, there's some gnarly waterfall climbs and crevices and whatever, right?
Right. And $10,000 if you hop on their early adopter program.
Shit, let me get my credit card out.
That's pretty damn good. And they have a lifetime warranty. You break it, we buy it. So, I mean, if you were considering, this is a pretty good opportunity.
Cool. Well, check out Portal Pros. Right on.
I think you should do it, Chris.
I just got my credit card out right now. It just melted.
Okay. Perfect. Oh, man. Other than that, I got to get back to Trail Hero prep here. It's quickly approaching.
Do you have a big clock on the wall in your shop?
No, it's not KOH. I'm not Ultra 4 Jones, but I'm, I feel pretty good. I've got, trailer packed, camper packed. A lot of stuff is crossed off the to-do list as far as all that goes. It's just concentrating on the buggy the next couple days and nutting and bolting and checking things out and make sure we're dialed in there as best as we can be, and then load her up in the trailer and head on down the highway Friday.
Load her on down. How many hour drive is that?
It takes us about 9.5 or so. Nine and a half.
That's not too bad. It's only a couple hours.
It's not too bad. We bypass Vegas. There's a bunch of different ways to get there. But, bypass Vegas so you don't get in that traffic and Vegas BS. And then, it's not far from Vegas. Once you're right in that vicinity, it's just a couple hours into, hour and a half, 2 hours into Sand Hollow, Hurricane, Utah, southern Utah. So, I got a lot of people on that I've talked to that, want to do interviews. So, of course, it's always a scramble, aligning everybody's schedules down there and people out wheeling, having a good time and commitments and all that. But we have quite a few people wander through our camp, so we should be able to score a few good interviews out there, and I'm looking forward to that.
Sweet. The listeners look forward to it also. Right on.
All right.
Very cool. Very cool. I wish I was going, but not. So, and hopefully one of these years I can go. I'm in the middle of a grow-in here at the golf course. They've actually grassed the driving range, so I am pretty much here nonstop now. So I wish everybody had good luck and safe travels and have fun when you're down at Sand Hollow.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all I got on my list. You got anything else?
No, just how to get a hold of us. You can go to the gram at Wheeling Wine Whiskey. You can also email Jason at wheelingwinewhiskey.com, or you can email Chris at wheelingwinewhiskey.com. Don't forget our phone number, which we got a couple of voicemails earlier in the show. That number is 408-800-5169. What is that number, Jason?
I love the characters. Albino, Sand Squirrel. Call back in. 408-800-5169.
Sweet. And go to irate4x4.com and join the discussion.
Absolutely. And with that,
we're out.